guys, it's Vanity Ezel, back again with another Card Fight Vanguard weekly reveals Ezel on the Vanity. So I hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the Patreon. And let's get this one started. This week, we finally got Vairina Elgar, Vairina Elgar, whatever it's going to be called, whatever its English name is going to be called, whatever it's going to be called in general. We finally got it. It rewards players like me who really wanted to see a certain thing happen, and it did, thankfully. So now I don't have to feel like I wasted most of my time in Overdress just playing one strategy and relying on one card to be revealed, because it did get revealed. So let's go to get this started, then we'll get to that point when we get to that point. First up, we have Persistent Icicles Javina. 13k base, grade 3, twin drive persona ride for Dark States. Auto rear when this unit attacks a Vanguard. If the number of cards in your soul is 10 or more, counterblast 1, soul blast 1. Until end of battle, your opponent cannot call from hand to guard circle unless they call 2 or more at the same time. Okay, guard restrict, not necessarily guard restrict, but forces out 2 cards at once. Okay, not that bad. My only problem with this is I don't want to, use my soul because when I hit the 15 mark, it is by barely. Granted, I haven't tested out my Barrow Magnus Set 2 deck, but I kind of don't want to do that. I don't want to run this card because I'm always afraid that the chance that I might not have enough soul to use Barrow Magnus whole effect, and then this is the card that puts me under the soul, I don't want to use it for. I'm not much afraid of the counterblasting part because there are cards in the deck that countercharge, so I'm fine with that. I just don't want to risk this card. So this is not a card I would run because honestly, Phantasmagoria, or whatever its name is, the on-play soul charge 2, I feel like is better, despite the fact that it's a card that could probably deck you out. But I like that card more than I like this card. But if you want to run this card, you can. Next up is Freeze Breeze. 8k base, grade 1, boost, 5k shield. I really like this card. Auto rear when an attack this unit boosted hits. If your Vanguard is Barrow Magnus, soul charge 1, that's the number of cards in your soul is 10 or more, counterblast 1, draw 2. Okay, so soul charge 1 if the attack hits. And if your soul is 10 or more cards, counterblast 1 and draw 2. Okay, that's good. My only problem with this is and this is my problem in general with all of D-Series support so far, their skills only work if you have the specified name. Here it says Barrow Magnus, but it specifies on the card that it has to be Master of Gravity or whatever his name is, Barrow Magnus, which sucks, which means when they give if they give the grade 3s a support, which they probably never will, that means half your cards that specify a Vanguard become useless unless those grade 3s have an effect that says this card becomes so-and-so on the Vanguard circle. Which also sucks because I always liked the fact that they were always innovating the grade 3 to some extent and evolving it constantly, or even when it wasn't constantly. I still loved it when the grade 3s evolved and became better units. Now, you kind of can't do that because the ride lines require you riding on a certain unit. All of your support cards rely on being on certain units. Literally, one of your support cards that we get for Vairina requires you to have Nirvana on your van. And not just any Nirvana, it specifies the original Nirvana. Which means half your support cards are useless, so we're kind of just stuck with the same grade 3s, which is very boring to me. But if they do make new cards, they have to have that skill. But I just wish that this wasn't the case where they would have to add that extra skill that this card counts as so-and-so on van, because it just feels like a waste of space. But either way, this thing's good because it can get you a draw 2. Next up, Volcano Gun Dragon. 13k base, grade 3, twin drive persona ride. Auto rear when it attacks. If your opponent has no front or rear guards, it gets plus 5k power to end of battle. Okay, an 18k swinger. In Eugene, this is probably going to go off in a really good combo with Tribash. Now you have 12 grade 3s maybe. Next, and then we also have Overlord, who could proc off this because Overlord's a guaranteed free kill a rear front or rear guard because they can't stop it unless they intercept and go for a 1 to pass. But if they can't do that, then the rear guard dies, which they probably wouldn't be able to do it anyways. Either way, Overlord kills 1, and then hopefully that's just their only rear guard. This gets plus 5, so this is a really helpful card to have. I say a 3 of. Next up, Bombing of the Fire Dragons. Grade 2, normal order. Choose one of your Vanguards until end of turn. It gets continuous Van. When any of your units would attack, it may attack a rear guard in the back row. So, that is really good. It allows any unit to attack. To mine, accordingly, when I got this information, it's any unit can attack, not... So, your rear guards can attack. Your Vanguard can also attack the back row, which is really helpful. You can get rid of pesky units. I originally read this as it attacks all the back row as the Vanguard only, but hey, that's a lot better than what I actually thought it was. So, you can constantly retire the back row, get more proc off it. It's just a really nice card to have. I run it at 3 of in my Overlord deck because, A, they can't stop Overlord, so I might as well. Next up is Fruit Season. Normal order, grade 2 for Stoichia. Until end of turn, all of your back row rear guards get plus 5k power. They cannot move to a different rear guard circle, and they cannot boost. Okay, I like that because it's just a free 5k. There's no downsides to it except the minus of boost and... Okay, let me rephrase that. There is no cost to it. That's better put. But my only thing with this is, for it to be fully useful, you have to Persona Ride Magnolia, which, it once more, isn't necessarily that hard, but at the same time, if like all of your Magnolias are still in deck for some bizarre reason, or like they ended up in damage and you can't retrieve them, then this card kind of just makes you more minus than plus because you're losing access to more grade 2s than you are gaining. I mean, granted, with the new Magnolia support, that doesn't really matter, but then to an extent they do. Because, like, Dairuma, I believe it is, I'm pretty sure that thing allows back row attack for a unit, so that card makes it fine as long as you have a bunch of them in hand. So, maybe a 2 of, because it can add power, but it's not that helpful if, like, you don't Persona Ride or you don't have cards that can give the back row attack to. Next up is Explosive Monster Manonorm. 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost, act rear once per turn, discard a set order, and countercharge 1. Okay, for you prison players, there's a reason for you to run more than one prison now, because this just makes the other ones a countercharge fodder, which in my experience of playing prison has been really helpful because I just don't like using Whopper for some reason. And for the Orphis players, I don't know how you feel about this. Personally, I would never use this card because in prison I'm fine with using it, but I already have Aurora Battle Princesses and that's enough for me, and I hate not running them, so this can go to hell for that deck. And in terms of Orphis, where this actually fits, I just don't see me using this because I refuse to discard my orders except for a PG. I don't need that countercharge that badly. Plus, we just got a countercharger. I like it as like a, it's a double rare countercharger? Oh yeah, never mind, fuck this card. I thought it was like a common countercharger. I mean, it's okay, but like, both of them have a countercharger. I say, if anything, Bulba Mine's better than this. If you can't get Bulba Mine for whatever reason, get this, but Bulba Mine is better in my opinion. Next up, we have Explode Melting Heart. Grade 2 Blitz Order, common. Soul Blast 1, choose one of your opponent's attacking units, and until end of turn, that unit gets minus 5,000 power for each of your opponent's cards in your prison. Okay, so now they have incentive to constantly, like, break their units out of prison. That's good. I like how prison in the first set was, in my opinion, the worst deck that came out of the first set. Like, they felt like they barely gave it support. It felt like they cared more about Orphis being good than they cared about prison being good. And in the second set, like, they gave reasons for your opponent not to leave cards in prison, besides just, like, you get an extra 10k in triple drive in case, like, you have nothing else, you just only have Seraph Snow. Now, with Turquoise, their rear guards are minus power when they call them, but now when they attack, if they don't call stuff out of prison, you can just use this order and force them to lose power, which is really helpful. Like, I like this card. It gives incentive for them to, like, call stuff out of prison. And the funny part is, this is a common, so it's going to be really easy to pick up. Like, I recommend this because it makes it a tough decision for your opponent. Like, waste their resources to call stuff out, but they lose 5k power when Turquoise is on the board. Or they don't, and then this thing just stops them. Like a 3 of copy. Not 4 of. 4 of is too much, but 3 of seems good. Next up, we have Oregon, the Monster Hunter, I think it's called. Overtrigger. It's nothing special about it. It's the same thing as every Overtrigger is. And its additional effect is choose one of your units and it gets plus 1 million to end of turn. It's basically Obari, but Oregon. That made little to no sense in my mind, but you understand what I mean. Next up, we have Monitoring Gear Dobert. 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto rear at the end of the battle that it boosted. If you are in Final Rush, put it to soul, choose one of your units and it gets plus 10k power to end of turn. Okay, that is really good, actually. I don't see any problem with that. There's no cost to it besides putting it into soul, and that's honestly helpful towards you for using Final Rush later. Not using Final Rush later, but using the Bruce Restand skill, and something gets plus 10 out of it. That's really good. I say like a 3 of. I personally would not run this at 4. Frankly, I personally wouldn't run this at all because I'm trying to make my build all Diablos cards. That is not a good decision, but if I were playing competitively in remotely any way, shape, or form, I would say this card's a good thing to have. Next up, we have Sleeve Pulling Beauty. 7k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto, when placed on rear, you may put all cards from your bound zone into your drop zone. And if you do, until end of turn, this card gets plus 5k power for each card put. Okay, I feel like, in just my personal opinion, this could be like a double rare, not a common, not a rare, because that just resets your entire bind zone, which means you could, all those orders that you've been playing the entire time and alchemagicking them, now they go back to drop zone and your toolbox just increased a fuck ton of amount. Like, I'm not the only player, I know I'm not the only player, when they're playing Zorga, where at some point they bind all of their they bind all their orders and drop, and then they have an order in hand, and either they don't have another order in general in their drop zone, or they don't have an order with a different name in drop zone. And now we have this, and this can be placed on rear from anywhere. Hand, drop zone. Here's what you do. Zorga it back from the drop zone, skill, put those orders into drop, and then boom, now you can just alchemagic a fuck ton. This feels like a really good card. And it is. I say 3 of, 4 of if you want, no less than 3. Next up is Nectar of Sensations. Grade 2 order for normal order as per usual for presumably Zorga, because Zorga's on the art and it works best with Zorga. Stoichia. Normal order, choose one of your rear guards until end of turn. For every 5 cards in your drop zone, it gets plus 5k power, and if you have 15 or more cards in drop, it gets plus 1 critical. Okay, so that's so if you do get the 15, which isn't going to be that hard because this is basically Grand Blue build for Stoichia. That's plus 15k in a crit if you have 15 cards in your drop. So that's just helpful, and there is no cost to this. And this is a rare. I'm really glad I don't know any Zorga mains. I am really glad I don't know any Zorga mains, because I am not going to deal with these 2 motherfuckers kicking my ass every 5 seconds. Yeah, this seems really good. I'm not an ace Zorga player, but this seems really good. Like, I feel like Zorga needs this. I say like a 3 of, not 4 of. Honestly, I run all of my orders at 2 because I feel like I can see them easily, so do as you wish with this. Next up, we have 8 Dog Warrior of Wisdom, Isuka Keno. 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost for Monster Hunter again. Continuous rear, if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater, gets plus 5k power. Okay, for once, or maybe we had one before besides the token Rambo card that gave you plus 2. We have a card that activates during your opponent's turn as well now. And it's an 13k booster / rear guard. That is an immediate hit on a grade 3 Vanguard. Unless they're that token Rambo card, but if this thing's on the board, then that token Rambo card becomes a 13k base anyways. And unless they pull a trigger. So this is just really good to have. 4 of, straight up. And now we get onto the cards I revealed today. Volcano Gun Dragon for Kagero, 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto Soul at the start of your main phase. If your opponent does not have any rear guards, you may call this card to rear. I don't know how you would make them have 0 rear guards at the start of the main phase. I feel like this is just supposed to be like an early use card where you ride it at grade 1, you ride at grade 2, because to my knowledge, or to the people I play, 90% of the time I have yet to encounter people who call rear guards during like grade 1 turn. I mean, in Overdress, people started doing that because low shield value, so you have nothing to lose really. But like in Standard, where this is in V, where this originates from, then I guess it makes sense, because I rarely see people call out early rear guards. And then act rear, counterblast 1, and retire this unit. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire all of your opponent's rear guards with the same grade as that unit. Okay. So I read this as kill a column. I was wrong. This could technically murder the opponent's entire field. Like, say they're playing Luards and their whole field is grade 1s. Well, all their grade 1s go to hell. Which granted kind of helps them, but my point still stands. God, that's just actually really good. Fuck, Jesus. 3 copies, I guess. Not 4, but 3. Today's just a whole day of me saying 3 copies of everything, isn't it? Next up is Sword Brand Gladiator, 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto Van, when this unit attack hits, draw a card. Did Nova Grapplers not have that? I swear Nova Grapplers had a card that was on hit draw. Am I wrong? Did Nova Grapplers not get an on hit draw? Why did they wait till the end of V to give them a draw card? What the hell? Anyways, auto, when this unit is placed on rear, if the number of cards in your hand is 3 or less, Soul Blast 1 and draw a card, then if the number of rear guards you have is 2 or less, draw a card. So I like that. It's just a draw card. It literally is a draw card. It's either when it hits on Van, you draw a card, and then when you place it on rear, if you have 3 or less hand cards, draw, and then if you have 2 or less rear guards, draw another card. It's technically a 2-draw, bringing you to 5 hand cards, which is... No, sorry, not 5 hand cards. 3 hand cards, which is really helpful. No, it can bring you to 5 hand cards. I don't know why I'm doubting that. It's like a comeback card, and I really like that in it. So, 4 copies. Next up, we have Cythe Dragon. 13k base, grade 3 twin drive persona ride for Dark States. Act rear once per turn, Soul Blast 2, choose one of your opponent's rear guards to retire it. Auto rear when its attack hits, you may Soul Charge 2. Okay, I can see why you would use this in Barrow Magnus, because, you know, you have an excess amount of soul, but in the same situation as, like, the first card revealed today, I wouldn't run it because I don't want to, like, be put behind by 2 soul because of this thing, and then its other ability to Soul Charge is an on-hit. But I would say run this in Bruce, because it gives on-hit pressure. It doesn't add as much power, but it does give on-hit pressure, which is really nice. So I say 3 of, if you run it in Bruce. I don't, in personally reasons, I don't run this in Barrow Magnus, but if you want to, I could see why. Next up, we finally move on to the Vairina cards. Armored Dragon Mount Cannon. 8k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with intercept. Auto front row rear. When your grade 0 unit attacks, this unit and the unit that attack get plus 5k power to end of turn. And here is where my patience played off. At the very start of Overdress, my goal that I made for myself, and this was a straight up promise I made for myself, and I refused to break that promise, was that I would rely on Nirvana's ability to call grade 0s from drop. And when I say rely, I don't mean just straight up call Trickstar and Overdress it. I mean whenever I got the chance, call Sunrise Egg, which I did actually a lot, surprisingly, and Triggers, which I never got to do because by that point there were already Trickstars and drops and I had to rely on those. But now we can finally call grade 0 cards that aren't Trickstar and get support for them. I like this. Finally, my goal has been rewarded. I had to wait a set in like 2 months to do this, but it finally has been rewarded. Thank you, Mount Cannon, for being such a beautiful common. Now I can use this and probably not break my wallet and still keep my strategy. Next up is Blazefist Monk Damari, 13k base, grade 3 twin drag double rare. Okay, I like this card. He looks really cool to me, and he's a double rare, which sometimes means they're more expensive than other cards, which means I might not be able to buy him, and I actually like him. Please don't do this to me, TCG. Please make it cheap. I beg of you. Auto rear at the end of the battle that this unit attack, counter boss 1 and soul boss 1. Choose one of your opponent's front rear guards and retire it, and if you Vanguard is Chakrabat deity, Divine Dragon, Nirvana, choose up to one of your grade 0 cards from drop and call it to rear. Yes, you get to recycle your grade 0s, which, this is meant for Trickstar. I am not going to try to sugarcoat it. It is meant to summon Trickstar so you can Elgar it, but it's works in the sense that you still get rewarded because it just says grade 0s. So you can still call down your triggers, you can still call down Sunrise Egg, allowing for grade 0 rush, which means that deck I built a while ago to test out the Blaze Maiden cards that only work if you have like Rayu and Reno, and the card that specified grade 0 rear guards, I didn't build for nothing. I just, thank you, Bushy. Thank you for making my dreams come true and making my lifestyle of how to play Nirvana work. Thank you. It may have taken you a while. When I say a while, only 2 months, you did it. I appreciate that. Anyways, on today's main reveal, Vairina Elgar. Honestly, I wasn't that hyped about seeing this card, but when I read all of its support and what it does, I felt really happy. Grade 2, Intercept, 5k shield, 10k power, Overdress, Trickstar. You may play it by stacking it on top of the specified unit instead of normal calling it. Rear guard. Auto, hand. At the end of the battle that your Trickstar attack the Vanguard, if your Vanguard is Chakrabat deity, Divine Dragon, Nirvana, Soul Blast 2, choose and Overdress this card on your Trickstar and rear as a stand and countercharge 1. And then continuous rear or guard. If this unit is in the Overdress state, this unit gets plus 10k power and 10k shield active on your opponent's turn 2. Okay, so you swing with Trickstar. You use this thing skill. Give it 5k power, 10k base. That's not that bad. It probably won't hit the Vanguard, but if you're going first, this is a really good way to just quickly rush the opponent out with 4 attacks. Maybe 5 if you play it particularly smart. If you really try hard enough, you could go 5 attacks in one go, but maybe 6. If I'm counting correctly, you could technically do 6 attacks in one go, but I would not recommend that because that would take way too much resources. Where's I going at this point? Oh yeah, you just get some overdresses and then you get attacks. It's a Soul Blast 2. I don't like that. I don't like that Soul Blast 2 part. Because the grade 2, that was one of the first cards that was released for them was, for this support in general, the grade 2 Blaze Maiden is a Soul Blast to give a grade 0 +5, which we need to make sure Trickstar can hit a Vanguard. I mean, granted, it doesn't have to hit, but that's preferred that it could hit, just to, or at least force them to guard it. So I don't like that Soul Blast 2. But we do have that card that says discard it, shove it to soul. We also have, God damn it, what was that card that soul charges? I just forgot it. I remembered what it was, and then I forgot what it was called. God damn it. Well, either way, we have a good amount of cards on soul charge. I feel like the Soul Blast 2 is both a bit too hefty and both at the same time a perfect cost for it. I feel like if it was like Counter Blast 1 and Soul Blast 1 or Counter Blast 2, I'd be more happy about this, because since it Counter Charges 1 is basically Counter Blast 1, so if it was Counter Blast 2 instead of Soul Blast 2, I would be happy about this. I still like it regardless, because that's a 15k shield and a 20k base, so I will take this, but I'm just more disappointed in the cost than anything, but it's a really good card because it allows for multi-attack. And then we have some information about Booster Set 3, Converging Resonance of the Binary Stars. Why is it for some reason, 2 weeks ago, I had a dream, and for some reason I just had a dream about this cover of the art, followed by the name Binary Stars. I didn't get the rest of it, but for some reason I thought about this, and I don't know why, despite the fact I didn't know what the fuck it would be called. Anyways, Vairina Expeda is the card on the art here. Use your original overdresses to make a powerful attack. Okay, sounds kind of like Valiente, but maybe it's different. Maybe it's like a multi-attack card. Maybe it's a Vairina that will go on Van. I highly doubt that, but it might happen. Who knows? And then we have some triple rares for that set. So we got the Demon Dragon of Greed, Greedon, who's a Dark State card, who looks like a... Don't know what to say about this card. I really don't. Gathers allies for stronger power. Okay, that's pretty much a good amount of information. I don't know why. This card looks so familiar, yet I cannot put my finger on it. Then we have Gravita Neltriga. Wipe out your opponent's rear guards with meteorites as a... what's it called? A Brandgate card. So, interesting. This thing looks really weird. So I probably will never use it unless its ability is that cool. And we have Maelstrom. Do not tell me this is not Maelstrom. I refuse to not believe this is Maelstrom. Look at it. Its guns are the same. Its neck is the same color to an extent. Its neck is not that long, but still. It doesn't have the... It has a different head marking than Maelstrom. This is Maelstrom. This is Maelstrom Descendant. Do not tell me otherwise. Flagship Dragon, Flagberg Dragon. Has a skill that activates based on the many attacks that happen that turn. That is Maelstrom! Do not tell me this is not Maelstrom's child. Or like Maelstrom's descendant from 3,000 years later. Tell me this is not Maelstrom. Tell me. Fight me for it. I will prove you wrong. Anyways, that was this week's support. So I hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment your opinions on the new cards revealed. Personally, I think Vairina Elgar is really good. So, comment anything that you think should happen, or like possible deck builds that are going to happen, or what's going to happen in set 3, or what do you think the grade 3s are going to do, etc., etc. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see and hit the bell notification too, so you can see when my videos come out, so you can watch them almost immediately. And go join the Discord so that you can chat with me. Go follow the Twitch where I stream to, if my computer would allow me to stream. Go subscribe to my second channel focused on Beyblade. And that's all I got for you today. So I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to stand up your Vanguards.